This is sort of the matchup where a lot of times this squad has pulled off upsets in the past. So we will see how they play it out. We are on the pitch, kicking off underway. It's a best of 5, the first of the day for the Canberra Havoc side. Renegades, they're already up 1-0 on the afternoon, and we'll see if they're going to continue with that momentum.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation. Just a reminder for everybody in the audience that it is a round robin, which means they're definitely going to be playing 4 games. And one factor that we haven't considered yet is going to be score difference, because at the moment we do see a few sweeps. So if Canberra Havoc can potentially not be swept, they could keep themselves alive, although it's going to be hard as Fever already opening up the goals.
Yeah, it's Kami, just a great job of that ball control right there. Just dribbling it past 2 defenders, even along that backboard as well. A fantastic setup out of Kami. And he is someone I feel like time and time again in high-pressure situations, watch out for Kami. He won't be necessarily the goal scorer all the time. Heck, he might not even be around the ball all the time, but his positioning is one of the best in the region, both offensively and defensively. He will make that play.
I've always said from the beginning of my time casting that Kami has been one of the players to me that is always in some capacity involved with an offensive play, whether it's a pass upfield, whether it's a direct pass that led to a goal, or the person scoring. His touches, his influence always seems to have a positive influence when it comes to the attacking play. So I would have to agree, he's definitely one to keep an eye out for right now.
I mean, Kami has been at times straight up why I argued if we ever did get to see like an all Australia versus all New Zealand game, I would be banking on New Zealand. I feel he is that influential at times as Snowy. I'm going to put a shot off that backboard. I'll let people theorize, who would be on what side. I'm not going to pick the lineups necessarily. All I'm knowing is I'm banking on the team with Kami in that type of situation.
Yeah, for sure, especially when you have to kind of think what the supporting players are going to be for the different teams. Kami just can make the best out of most situations, so I would have to agree. But right now it seems like they're just going to slow down the pace a little bit, have a little bit more control. Kami will put a shot on there, but it is wide, and they're just trying to make sure they control the pace here and not really give Canberra Havoc too much time on the ball.
No, it's been actually very dominant right now by the Renegades. They have been controlling the pace quite well. Snowy, though, doing one of those, Canberra Havoc specialties, get forward challenge right in the face of CJ. Kami looks to play off the backboard, went for the double touch, doesn't find it. Fever again gets it to the backboard. This time Tango will be able to steal away, but look how far forward the Renegades are. Fever plays a cheeky touch on that corner. Buys time for Kami to challenge midfield, and here comes CJ playing it across the center. Vortex will steal it off that backboard. Kami's already there. And it's the Renegades really who are being a lot more of that team that is challenging everything. I expected it out of the Havoc, as the Havoc, it looks like they're going to get the goal. The second touch from Vortex will put it in.
And that's just, the classic thing. When you're pressing up too hard, it's one touch that's a little bit awkward, a little bit hard to reach, that will be punished. And Vortex, having the patience there to actually wait to see where the ball was going to go from the post, very well done, because it gave him the opportunity to get that goal.
And that is a great goal, don't get me wrong, for Canberra Havoc. It feels like 1 or 2 of those might get through throughout the series if the Renegades continue to play this far forward. Fever, which is bullying Vortex in the net right there. A bit unfortunate for the Renegades. They can't put one on target. I do feel like, though, overall, Renegades, with the way how they're playing, how far forward they are, how aggressive they're being, they're going to be creating more opportunities as this series progresses.
I think so. I think Renegades have a little bit more adaptability. They're going to be a little bit more creative with their plays as well. And that actually kind of stems from Fever. I feel like Fever does kind of open up those opportunities to go for something a little bit abnormal or a little bit different compared to what we're usually seeing from Renegades.
I believe, and I'm going to be so sorry if I quote the player incorrectly here, but I believe it was Mock who I was talking to, where he said Fever is the scariest player with the ball on their own side of the pitch, just because of how dynamic he can be when pressing up the field and creating attacking opportunities from, places you're not entirely sure where. And then if we throw this and compare it and synergize it with Kami, who is a similar style player, always is able to have that positive offensive impact. In theory, the Renegades attack should be one of the scariest in the region, although with the way how Vortex has been playing, you've got to look at Canberra Havoc as well and think, these guys can come from out of nowhere at that same time.
I mean, if Vortex continues to play the way he's playing, he's seeming to have a lot of influence. I love that he's throwing in fake challenges. I love that he's keeping Renegades on edge, because they're right now having not really any kind of positive option to dealing with him. As soon as he's got ball in hand and possession, he is very dangerous.
Oh, Fever almost finds the double touch right there. Is forced to kind of play along the net, but good patient play from Canberra Havoc's defense means they don't overcommit. They don't allow CJ that window, and now Vortex looks to punish. Shots on target. Kami's going to have that save. Another shooting opportunity for Snowy. CJ gets behind it, but also gets in Kami's way on the attempt for the clear, so not as big a bang as perhaps the Renegades were looking for. 23 seconds to go in regulation as we inch closer to what could be our first overtime of the day.
Yeah, it definitely could be, and the way that both of these teams are playing, it doesn't seem like anyone's having one leg above the other. They're definitely trying to press. They're trying to just see if someone's going to make a mistake, but so far it's been pretty clinical as Tango does put the ball in the orange side of the field, does get demoed for his efforts, but it will buy enough time for himself to get back, put the ball down, and we do have our first overtime.
Our first overtime in game one of this series. Again, this Havoc lineup traditionally has been that thorn in the Renegade side, and they're looking to punish here. Snowy and Tango with a chance, only Kami to beat. Yet Kami gets that perfect defensive touch, even dishes it out to Fever, who shows off why he's dangerous from his own side. Got it past Vortex, not past Tango. Plays that backwards. CJ, a very cheeky little touch, but not good enough to get past Tango. Vortex with the opening, puts it away, and Canberra Havoc take game number one.
You could kind of see this unfolding. You see Fever cutting the ball, Kami very awkward in his recovery, and it leaves the net wide open after CJ managed to touch. It's a little bit of an inconsistent touch there, and Fever maybe not the best decision to challenge there, but for Canberra Havoc, this is a great start considering Twitch chat actually says that 90% of viewers are going to say that Renegades win, so Canberra Havoc taking a win here does kind of put a little nail in their thorn there.
It's the power of branding, right? The power of the big names on this Renegade side. You see CJ, Kami, and Fever, and you think, how can this team lose? Well, the answer right now, my friends, is Vortex, who, hey, he had been playing so far forward, I feel like, so many times. He was almost taking the role of old Canberra Havoc Illumini Leduc in this sense, kind of coming at the Renegades from awkward and odd angles. And as a result, that is going to be the Renegades dropping game one. As we go ahead, a little bit of a stadium mix-up. I like it. Into game number two, Renegades are going to be looking to bounce back. CJ off of that kickoff, nearly able to take it to the house, but of course it's going to be Vortex who steals it away and gets the second touch to push it to the orange side of the pitch.
You always got to love a bit of Forbidden Temple. Definitely one of the more creative maps, but still very nice to play on. I know the pro players definitely enjoy it because it's a little bit of a change, but it doesn't really impact too much on performance. So it's good to see the change here. Going to the gameplay, it seems like, again, Renegades are hard pressing the ball. They're challenging quickly, but Canberra Havoc, as tried and true as it is, they're pretty happy just to let the ball sit, come to them, and then create the rebound play.
Yeah, which is so different from how this team would typically play in the past. And it almost seems that Renegades are doing something similar, actually. They're playing a lot further back than what they did in game number one. And I think that is a result, perhaps, of that attacking pressure Vortex was able to make. Shots now coming from midfield instead of in front of the net out of the Renegades. They're changing up their play style, hoping to find success as CJ goes for the challenge this time in front of the net. Just thought he had an opportunity on Tango. Everyone gets caught up in the corner right there. CJ going for the bump, Kami going for the play, and defenders get stuck in the middle of it. Another chance for Fever. It's off the backward. CJ has the bump. Here comes Kami. Shot, target, not quite there in time. Snowy clears it through.
I was starting to get a bit worried, but the counter-attack is good from Canberra Havoc. Snowy taking full advantage of the press that Renegades were having. I actually was about to say how a little bit scared I was for Canberra Havoc. They didn't have a lot of boost. They seemed to be a bit awkward on rotation, and I thought that Renegades could potentially steal one away, but it's that overcommit that does tend to catch out teams pretty quickly. If you press too far, the counter-attack is on.
I think that attack was almost a little bit too slow as well for the Renegades to really take advantage of the lack of boost situation. They kind of got jammed too far forward, and they weren't able to rotate back and really control the midfield boosts during that attack. So even though Canberra Havoc was running on empty, so too were the Renegades in that situation, and it allowed for a rather slow breakaway. Very unusual goal, to be quite honest, but hey, Snowy will take that. So too will the Havoc. Now up 1-0 against the Renegades, looking to push themselves to a 2-0 series lead. Can you imagine Canberra Havoc putting this Renegades team on a reverse sweep type situation to get through this match? I was kind of leaning towards perhaps this Havoc lineup leading, but not necessarily in that fashion.
No, definitely. I didn't see them to potentially push this to a reverse sweep situation, although they will have to clean up a few things in defense and avoid these kinds of situations. I do have to give credit to Fever. Very nice slow play there. Forced out Tango Snowy in a very awkward position. Had to avoid the bump that was impending from Fever just to make sure that he could almost get back to the save, but it was too quick from, I think it was Kami. Yes, Kami in the attack. So well done, Renegades, to equalize.
I feel like that was the goal that the Renegades were going for in that opening exchange. Oh, a couple players miss, and here comes Snowy, second goal in game number 2.
And a quick counterattack. And again, it's coming off the back of Vortex, just being creative, putting the ball on net, forcing out a commit, and allowing his teammates to secure the goal.
I'm getting a little worried, Jupiter. I'm getting a little concerned because for those of you who might not know, every Sunday, every now and then, I do some Formula 1 racing, and Vortex happens to be in my league, and if he's busy playing in the RLCS Major, he won't be able to drive for my team, and that has me concerned. I need my Vortex in my league, but I suppose, you know, this could be a bit more important, especially if he's playing like this. Kami shot target saved by Vortex. Who else? As the Canberra Havoc defense continues to put themselves in a very good spot, although CJ had a chance, doesn't even need to touch it, actually. Give the goal credit to Fever.
That is the power of the threat of attack. Even though CJ went up for this, it was on net. All he knew to do was to make a commitment come through from Snowy. Snowy couldn't really cover both angles as possible. So, you know, very well done by CJ, but Fever as well. Good cut there just to put the ball on net.
Yeah, as we see another kickoff initially go the Renegades' way. Tango needs to play his own backboard. Vortex was playing forward. Actually has the read on Kami, but doesn't make contact with the ball. That's okay. Tango's there. Fever actually looks to dish it over to CJ, who will play along that wall. Snowy off that backboard, puts it in the middle. Fever's there waiting for it, and that's going to be another goal for Fever. 3-2 lead for the Renegades.
Just a solid strike coming out of the Renegades. A little bit of indecision here from Snowy. Probably not the best touch. And again, you can see the offensive rotation coming from Renegades, trying to cause a bit of mayhem on the goal line, make them reassess where they're positioning, and it creates an opportunity.
That's such an awkward play to make, though, because he's trying to pass it to a teammate across the middle, and you typically want to put it out, you know, some distance in front of the goal, but in that case, put it too far forward, and it's weird to say, no, put it closer, put it in the more dangerous spot. That's where your teammate is, and that just feels unnatural and wrong, yet that's what Havoc needed to do in that situation. Renegades able to punish there. They've got that 1-goal lead, just under 90 seconds to play. They'd love to get a second, but Tango says no to CJ.
Yeah, CJ still pressing. Oh! Beautiful save from Vortex. I don't know how he managed to get it. From my angle, it looked like the ball went in and out of the goals, but they keep themselves alive. Only a 1-goal deficit for them at the moment with a minute left, although Vortex, no boost, still make something work. Tango will take over, put the ball in field. It's dangerous. There's a lot of lurking players for the Renegades, but they'll have to slow it down. Snowy takes a touch infield, almost gets dunked, but now it's all on Vortex to try and clear the ball successfully, and he does.
I would trust Vortex in these situations with the way how this player has been attacking, although, oh no, Snowy and Tango connect in midfield, and that opens the door for Fever for a breakaway. The net was relatively open as well. That was a scoring chance squandered by the Canberra Havoc.
There was the opportunity for Snowy to take over, but he didn't catch the ball well enough. He caught the ball behind, which slowed all the ball's momentum, and he couldn't put on a flick. He couldn't put on a shot. It was very, very unfortunate timing and situation for Canberra Havoc, but they still have a bit of time. There is a press coming. Snowy trying to bump CJ, but CJ, good control and composure to get the ball out. Still has a bit of boost, faking that he doesn't. Tried to put the shot on, but it will be saved by Vortex.
5 seconds remaining. Last chance for the Havoc in game number 2, and already the Renegades are playing that middle of the field. Tango looking to play off that bounce. Maybe went too far forward. Can't corral the ball. And that's going to be the Renegades getting that victory. Series tied up once more. Fever, the player to look out for. He was stepping up offensively, defensively as well. A great game for the Renegades. 12 shots, to 3 against the Canberra Havoc.
Yeah, Renegades always a very high shooting team. They always love to put the ball on there and force out their team to make those awkward saves, make those awkward touches, and then capitalize on it. And that's exactly what happened in this match. But I credit to Canberra Havoc, they did do really well. I just feel like they didn't have as much opportunities to move the ball forward.
No, and again, this is typical Renegade gameplay. You know, it's the best defense is a good offense, and we're going to keep that ball on your side of the pitch. We're not going to let you get opportunities to strike back. Granted, Canberra Havoc, when given those opportunities, did actually finish that game with a 66% shooting percentage. Well, that's what happens when you only shoot the ball 3 times. So with a tied series up right now, Ernest back on the Canberra Havoc to try and adjust, try to find a way to break these Renegade rotations. Off the kickoff, though, Snowy will push it to the Renegade side and right into the waiting arms of Fever, who doesn't have the boost to beat out Vortex. CJ able to read that play, though, and kind of bails the Renegades out.
He does for the time being, but it is a couple of awkward positionings. Kami's forced to get a nice save here. He actually manages the 52 players, so he does slow down the ball quite considerably and gives time and space for his team to come back. But Snowy, now with boosted ball,
reset,
goes for the flip reset, gets the thumb, no!
Fever is a spoiler, man. He is not allowing anyone to have fun time and time again, at least on the Canberra Havoc side. I think the Renegades are having a lot of fun with Fever in the lineup right now. No highlight play, instead a highlight save as Vortex looking for a bit of redemption. Perhaps ball gets to the backboard, Tango goes for the dunk, and again it's Fever who shuts it down.
I don't know how that ball didn't go in. And on the return, it is none other than Kami, the man that we always say to keep an eye out for. Reads this beautiful pass from CJ. CJ slots that into the upper corner. And just like that, Renegades counter-attacked for the first goal.
How many years have these two been playing together as a team at this stage? It's been multiple years. The Kami CJ synergy again on display, although Vortex off this kickoff can't get it past Fever. Are you kidding me?
How do you manage that save? If that was anybody else besides Fever, that ball would have hit the crossbar, bang, first in goal. But Fever, again, just keeping himself relevant, keeping the ball away from the goal line of the Renegades, and that's the dynamic that he has brought to this team. He keeps himself relevant and keeps the hopes alive for the Renegades fans.
As he's now going to go for the shot as well. Vortex does save that one. Ball's kind of put right in Vortex's lap, yet it was a double commit on the defense, which means Renegades are going to be able to continue to pester this goal, and this is Renegade-style Rocket League. Don't allow you to get any attacking pressure whatsoever, because we're just going to be putting on shot after shot, forcing you to get these awkward double commits, and eventually something's going to break. Snowy with that bump on Kami thinks he saves the goal, and does, as Tango is able to stop the shot from Fever.
And again, we're seeing this consistent play from the Renegades. They're peppering the goal line. They're forcing out heavy touches. They're trying to break down the defense of Canberra Havoc to seal away that goal. But Canberra Havoc on the reverse. They're trying to counter-attack quickly. Tango dropping the ball down. Can't keep the control. Actually gives a little bit of momentum to Kami.
Kami's got the bump. No!
Oh,
couldn't quite find Vortex right there, who still is looking so impressive on this field. CJ, nice intercept right there from that Tango pass to Snowy, and now here comes the Renegades once again. Fever, oh, it's a fake, and it is filthy. 2-0 lead for the Renegades.
What control coming out from Fever. You see him going for this. He pulls out of the challenge, gets the additional touch just to seal the deal. Tango could not get to it at all. And Renegades just showing exactly why they picked up Fever in place of Siki.
Oh, Fever is aptly named because this player is sick right now. He is just on another level, it feels like, as Kami will try to get that ball to the corner, can only go so far with it. Fever unable to find the dunk onto Tango, who is able to clear that ball down the pitch. Vortex thinks he has the dunk, unable to put it away just yet. Kami stopped the shot from Snowy and will follow it through himself. Doesn't quite have the angle for that shot, but CJ's on the opposite end, trying to throw it back to Kami. Snowy with the intercept, balls in a dangerous spot. CJ underneath, actually got in the way of Fever, who may have had that better line, but it's okay. GJ will make up for it, and that's a 3-0 lead.
Renegades at the moment can do no wrong. Even that touch there by CJ, perfectly placed off the spoiler of the car, puts it on net, forces out a touch, and then gets the turnaround goal. It's that classic break down the defense, whittle them away, make sure they can't recover or don't have the boost to recover, and then take the final nail in the coffin.
As we see Fever in front of Tango trying to find that dunk, won't be able to get it. Play is going to be attempted to shut down at mid-pitch. CJ's waiting, throws it back over to Vortex, who will now try try to clear it up the field. Tango delayed play, actually has a nice read on Fever. CJ gets demoed by Snowy. He looked for the pump on Kami as well, unable to find it. Tango still finds that pass. Snowy cuts off Vortex though, who had the power, and as a result, no goal to be scored.
I don't know how they managed that touch. I thought for sure Canberra Havoc would have had an opportunity to score there, but Vortex couldn't commit. There was 3 players in the net for Renegades, and you can never commit on those odds. So he did make the correct choice in waiting, but you could always hope and dream that he could have put that one away. Right now, Canberra Havoc not having an answer for the Renegades as they look to continue the press.
And here's the thing, this press has been affecting Tango, I think, more so than any other player on the Canberra Havoc side. Tango likes his space. He likes to be able to be a bit more dynamic on the attack, but in order for that to happen, he needs to have a relatively uncontested midfield, and that's just something the Renegades have not been allowing, and that's how come Canberra Havoc has kind of become this Vortex and Snowy show. Vortex has been enabled because he's been cheating deep, and at times Snowy has been able to find these deep dishes down to him. However, Tango, relatively silent throughout this series, and this is a trend that's going to have to change as we start to look towards game number 4.
I do have to agree. I think that Tango is a little bit lost at the moment, as we see again, they're forcing out the mistakes here. Renegades, you see CJ takes the control, forces out a challenge here by Snowy, and then puts it in a very scoreable position. But if we go back to Tango just for a second, he is a little bit out of sorts. He doesn't know exactly where he's going to be most effective. And as you're right, he is very much a solo player. He's best known for his ones play, and he doesn't have the time and space to really showcase his talents.
Oh, Kami had an open net right there. It would have been a tough shot, and unlimited boost, unable to find it. That's okay. We'll be able to hit that next attempt. A nice bicycle kick to put it through. Renegades, they're ending this game 3 in style, now up 5-0.
Well, this is the clinical part of the gameplay where they can really showcase just how dominating they can be when they play exactly how they want to. If they can control the space, if they can control the field. This is the potential of Renegades, and with Fever being that playmaker, having those options to get the extra touches past the defenders, be creative, it really opens up opportunities for Renegades to dominate the field once more.
Time will hit 0, and a shutout potentially for the Renegades, assuming this ball doesn't go all the way back across to the other side of the pitch. Fever says, nah, we're not having fun today. I'm just going to head and down it. Renegades, they take this 3rd game. They will advance to match point and are now 1 more game away from being 2-0 on the day.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first time we've seen Renegades drop a match early. We had Canberra Havoc take 1 in the first, but it seems like they have bounced back pretty quickly, and they've now figured out the secret to breaking the Canberra Havoc defense. But it's going to be up to Canberra Havoc now to bounce back, find a way in. I think the thing that's going to be the best thing for them is to go for long clears, reset, try and recover, and get their rotation back in order, because when they're being pressed and they don't have the boost or rotation in the right place, then they're not going to be able to survive that continual prey.
I just worry, though, because finding long clears against the Renegades has traditionally just been a tough ask because of the Renegades' mid-pitch control. This team loves shutting down your setups and then sustaining their attack through great offensive rotations, and we've been seeing that in this series. So finding those gaps, finding those clears, I agree with you, needs to be done, but it's going to be a very tough ask as, Tango misses the ball. This might set up Fever. It forces the boost out of Vortex if nothing else. The second touch was cheeky, but not really beneficial. Snowy is able to take it away before getting demoed. Now Kami has a chance. 2 defenders will be able to fall back in time. Vortex has to use what little he has to get in front of it. And the Renegades, again, just putting on shot after shot, pressure after pressure. And Canberra Havoc, even if they get the boost, they have to use it straight away.
And that's the thing, they're not having the boost when they need it, when they need to go for these attacking plays, and that's stifling their opportunities, and they're having to leave the ball or slow the ball down just to kind of compensate for the lack of boost, and that's allowing the continual press from Renegades. That's why they're having so much success, is they're essentially just boost starving the team for the entire 5 minutes.
Oh, Fever unable to get that shot through. The angle was there, but so too is the clear from Vortex. And finally, we go into the orange side of the pitch. You can see Vortex already cheating forward, trying to make a play happen. But perhaps it's Tango's turn. Not quite. CJ does stop it. And now Kami actually can get a nice little ceiling shot right there. The ball just seems to be like on heat seeker mode. Every time Renegades touch it, it's going towards that net and is forcing the Havoc to react.
Fever now beating out the challenge of Snowy, forces a double commit out of Canberra Havoc here. Vortex is the one trying to control the ball, but Kami again being that playmaker, putting the ball in a dangerous position. Fever off the backboard will try and get it to CJ, but Vortex doing well enough, although this is looking dangerous. Tango has to force the jump and does, but the press is still going.
Yeah, again, the attack is there, it is there, and you can see CJ just sits in mid-pitch and waits for the ball to come to him. It's why it's so tough to break these rotations. Renegades, their game sense, especially on the attack, is always so good. Finally, it looks like we get that clear. Nope, once again, shut down by Kami this time. It's so hard to get that ball on the Renegade side of the field, and for a team like this Canberra Havoc lineup, which wants to excel, which wants to challenge, which wants to sort of pressure you, it's kind of like their own game being thrown against them. Vortex nearly own goals. It sets up Fever, but Snowy gets to the ball first.
And that just kind of is the pinnacle of what's happening at the moment. You're
Oh
100%
my!
correct with that pass. It's going to be a shot by Kami, and eventually it will go in. But look at where they're pressing the ball. They're pressing it in this first quarter. Fever with the touch, CJ with the play, Kami with the follow. They do not want to let this ball cross halfway.
I'm a little bit disappointed that CJ didn't get that goal, because Fever's pass, it doesn't get much more picture perfect than that. I don't even think CJ was expecting that ball to be delivered right in that spot. Fortunately, CJ does enough to get that ball to Kami, but my goodness, that initial touch from Fever was something else. You know, we were impressed with Vortex earlier in this series. However, Fever definitely taking it to that next level. If he is on this form throughout this major, I think even Ground Zero might have to be on notice. We know the Renegades have been putting on a few finals appearances throughout the regionals. We're seeing why. This Renegades team, the life in this squad has been something else.
Exactly. It's been rejuvenated with Fever's introduction to the team, and I think the Fever's best attribute here is the fact that he does have a lot of control with his car and is able to put the ball in really good positions for his team to succeed, and that's been evident in this match. We've seen a lot of the time Fever putting the ball in very scoreable positions, exactly as we just saw here. He gets the 50, puts it on the goal, and CJ will be credited with the goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's an open net that not even CJ is going to miss this time. That just needs to be tapped right on in, and in it goes. A 2-0 lead for Renegades, just over 100 seconds remaining. Things looking more and more likely that this Renegade squad will be 2-0 on the day. Kickoff Fever versus Vortex. Vortex does enough for the save.
And this is where we need to see some kind of counterattack out of Canberra Havoc, because at the moment they haven't had barely any opportunity to put this ball on their own net. They do manage to get past one Snowy, but the support from from Renegades is just too much to handle at the moment. There's always somebody back, and it seems like Canberra Havoc at the moment don't have an answer.
Yeah, they just have been they haven't been able to play half of the field. Like, this is, you know, almost basketball, you know, when you play 2v2 or whatever, just half court. It's kind of been like half pitch Rocket League, with the Renegades are the attackers, Canberra Havoc is defense, and maybe they're thinking, okay, next game, you know, we'll have our 5 minutes to attack, but it's not going to work out that way. I don't know what to tell you guys. This is Renegades looking to take the series. Kami demo in the net. Fever goes for the solo play, but pushed himself a little bit too far.
It's almost like squash, where you're just hitting this ball against a wall and it's coming straight back against you, and you don't have an answer besides to hit it against the wall again. That wall is the Renegades at the moment. They're having all the options. A beautiful play. I mean, you can't even fault them at the moment. What an upfield pass. Fever getting the touch. Kami hitting Fever back up again, and they'll get the goal. What a stellar performance.
Yeah, I mean, you say Fever's best attribute is his car control. I say it's how he uses it in situations like that. Again, you're not going to find too many better players when it comes to the defensive clear and dump off like Fever. Although this time Snowy actually seals it away in the middle of the pitch. Does force CJ back. Do we dare see some Canberra Havoc attack in the final 20 seconds of the game? No. Renegades say, not today. You had your one chance. You missed it. Now it's our turn again. Vortex will clear it back to that orange side 12 seconds ago. Havoc, they are going to be going down in this series 3-1. They don't want to get shut out, yet Renegades not allowing it to happen. CJ shot, target saved by Snowy. Time hit 0, and the ball should hit the ground right about... No, not now, actually. Fever kept it alive. All right, I see you, Fever. Give Tango and Vortex one last chance to shine, and Tango, no! Vortex gets it his way, and the Renegades win the series.
That is just, if you had to summarize Canberra Havoc in that series, in that one play, it was exactly that. They had the opportunities, but in some way, shape, or form, it was either by their own mistake or by the Renegades just pressing in a certain way. They just couldn't put it in the back of the net. And it's very unfortunate because they did have some really good moments in game number one. They looked to be very, very strong. They were pressing very nicely. Vortex was stepping up in a massive way, offensively and defensively. But it just, Renegades too solid on their rotations, too good at pressing the ball in the opposition half to be stopped pretty much.
Pretty much exactly that. I mean, Tango, I feel like just was not allowed to play. And even at the very end, with no time left on the clock, all right, Tango's going to at least get one double touch in. And his own team getting in his way. He just was never given that space, never allowed to sort of act. Meanwhile, the Fever Call Me connection, that was something else. I mean, Fever was playing next level, I feel, that entire series. Some of those touches on the attack in particular, not something we typically see from this player. Although I did say my time with, working with Mindfreak, when he is allowed to sort of unleash on that attacking half, yeah, you can see that same side of Fever, that same sort of car control. It's just typically you see him on the defense because he's so good on those defensive clears. But on this Renegade squad, they're like, well, we don't care as much about defense. We just want you to play forward. We just want you to attack. And yeah, looking unleashed right now, this Renegades team, they're going to be scary moving forwards.
I definitely would have to agree. They are very, very scary. I think the thing for me comes down to, for Fever, awareness. He knows exactly when to keep the ball close. He knows when to go for those upfield plays or to put it in a position for scoring for his team. He just knows how to play the game around his two teammates. And we have talked about the Kami and CJ synergy. They've been together for, I think, a very, very long time. Arguably the longest pair in OCE, I would have to say. But they, know exactly how to incorporate their teammates, and Fever's slotting into that position very, very nicely.
Yeah, and it's come at such a key moment as well for these Renegades. Obviously, due to Worlds not necessarily happening, you still want to finish in that top two, though, for the big super event at the end of this all. And Renegades, they want to be that number 2 team. That is what they're playing for, and they're making a very good argument right now. That is our second series done and dusted. We still have 4 more to go, so I believe we're going to be throwing it to a break. When we come back, not only will Junior Tins be joining us on that broadcast, but so too will Cringe Society and Riot. That's right, we're going over to Group A when we return, so stick with us. More Rocket League when we return.